Hello, Raider Nation. Welcome back to Section 105 Media Network. You are watching Sideline to Sideline with Oakland Raider Savage and myself, Raider Homer. Please follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Raider Homer and at Oakland Raider Savage. You can also find us on Twitter at Oakland Raider Savage and at Homer Raider. This week, we're going to go ahead and take a look back at the Raiders versus Chargers, the highlights and instant replay, and then we're going to go into the film room and take a closer look at the Raiders versus Chargers all 22 footage. Then we go into quick hits and we'll talk about the emotions shown before and the inspiration behind this 3-game win streak, as well as get into the new Rams quarterback Baker Mayfield. Then we're going to go behind enemy lines and take a look at the Rams' last game versus the Seahawks. Then again, we're going to go right back into the film room and take a look at Coach McDaniels versus the Rams defense, and then our DC, Patrick Graham, versus the Rams offense. Then we're going to end the show with the injury report as always. Oakland Raider Savage, how you doing this week, brother?
We are on a 3-game winning streak. I'm feeling good. And I know we got a short week. We got Thursday night game against the Rams, but it's in our second home, our vacation home in LA. So we're going to take over SoFi. We're going to be 98% of that. Probably like 2 Rams fans going to still be over there. We're taking over that like we always do. Los Angeles. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, let's get into it. All right, Raider Nation, here we go with instant replay. This week, we're going to take a look at the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, week 1 was the same game, our first matchup of the season, and it did not go so well. We gave up 6 sacks, and we turned the ball over with 3 interceptions, and it just was ugly. This week, kind of a mirror image. The Chargers struggled. They gave up 5 sacks, even though we still had 2 turnovers. We were able to come out with the win. Started out rough, just like we did against the Seahawks. The team still shows their resiliency and continues to play and ends up coming up with the win. So it's going to be exciting to look at this because there's a lot of things that happened in this game that we wanted to see happen. So we'll get into that as we watch this video. So Sal, what was your quick thoughts on this Week 13 matchup?
Well, compared to, like you said, the first game of the season, whole new offense, whole new philosophy, whole new system. Still trying to get the kinks out of all that. Plus, the offensive line was going through a lot of rotation. The right tackle, with the Luminor, switched in and out with Mumford, and the whole offensive line on the first game was not the same one we played with on this game. And with more continuity, we felt a little bit more confident in this game, protecting Derek Carr and able to get this victory, especially with the adversity that we faced in the beginning of this game. We were able to come back and control the game and get that W.
And so we had some concern about Chandler Jones being able to keep contained with Justin Herbert running around, but he was able to do that. Devontae Adams showed up. This was a great game, so let's go ahead and check that out.
The defense, especially the DBs, they didn't seem, getting razzled on the, because it seemed like a lot of times in the last couple of games trying to close out, they would let guys open, but with the pressure from the defense, they were able to stick to their guys. They're playing more man, and they were able to just let the plays unfold and just play their do their jobs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like again, the Chargers. I mean, they have Herbert, they have Allen, they have playmakers. You know what I mean? So they're gonna be able to score points. But as long as our defense can bend but not break like they did in this game, we have a shot. And especially if our offensive line is shutting down Mac, right? We'll talk a little bit about that when we look at some of these all 22 films. But just a little quick recap. Our defense gave up 22 first downs. You know what I mean? So they were on the field a lot, 30 minutes. They're about even. But we played well on third down conversions. We held the Chargers to 5 of 16, 3 of 5 on fourth down. I mean, the Chargers were playing aggressively. They wanted this victory. They knew that their season's on the line. There's no way they want to lose to the Raiders. But we were able to come up with it, a big, big victory. Our offense comes up with 404 total yards. Derek Carr, 250. He throws 250 around like it's nothing. And Jacobs comes up with another 150-plus yard game. Now, the big thing about this, right, though, we're back on track. It seems like this team is gelling. They're starting to play well. But look, we're 3-2 in the division, right? We swept the Broncos, we split with the Chargers, and we lost to the Chiefs. So we got the Chiefs up, the last game of the season. Hopefully, we can get them, split the series with them, and go 4-2 in the AFC West. I mean, because even though this may not be a playoff year, it's important to win your division, and we're still competing in our division, which is the right way to go.
Yeah, and this team, I mean, whether it's playing for pride or playing to squeak into the playoffs like we did last year on that 7th seed, they're playing with a purpose and taking, yeah, like you said, taking out these AFC West rivals. I mean, there is no tanking with this team. They're trying to show that they're trying to improve and they're preparing for a run, whether it's this year or next year.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So with all that being said, let's move into the film room and take a closer look at this game. One nation, one nation. All right, Raider Nation, here we are in the film room taking a closer look at the Raiders versus Chargers all 22 film. We're going to start off with Jones's first sack. And it was, like I said, he had a great game. We took a look last week. We were worried about Herbert running and Jones losing contain. But the team has felt very good about his ability to contain the run and put pressure on the quarterback and be a team leader and all that. And this week, everything worked out perfectly, starting with this play right here.
Yeah, Chandler Jones, I mean, a lot of stuff he's been doing good doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but we want sacks, and it finally all came together in this game.
Right. So this is pretty much a cover sack right here. We're playing man. Looks like single high. You see everybody's pretty well covered.
Yeah, and Chandler Jones, looks like he's playing freely. He's not thinking out there too much, and he's able to just run up the field towards Herbert to close down for his first sack of the season, first full sack of the season.
Yeah, Herbert is pretty much, there's nowhere to go. You see these two linebackers right here taking away his little blanket receiver, and then everybody else is covered with some help over the top. So he's not even set. Everybody's covered. By the time he sets, he realizes there's nowhere to go. And that pocket right there is being pushed by the middle. So he's looking at our defensive tackle right here. And we'll take a look at who that is. And there's nowhere to go. So he starts to run, and Chandler Jones comes through. Great play.
And that's good because the interior line is also closing those open running lanes for Herbert. Like you said in the last episode, he likes to go to his left and be able to contain that side for Jones to get his first sack of the season, first full sack of the season. Got to make sure first full sack of the season.
So here we go with the pressure up the middle from the defensive line. That's Nichols. Jones he stays disciplined. He doesn't just go out wide. You see, there's no one. 7 is not open. It looks like he might be open, but you can see 50 right here. So Herbert.
I mean, if Chandler Jones didn't come up on him, he probably would have been able to move to the left in the pocket and find maybe number 7 open on a small window. And that's what Herbert does. He tries to extend the play by moving out of the pocket, and Jones is able to corral him and take him down before he can make any plays and get his first sack.
Well, yeah, if Jones doesn't get him, that's a one-on-one with Deron Harmon right there. That could have been a touchdown, or at least taking it all the way down to the inside the 10.
Yeah, he has 2 options right there. He can either extend the play and find someone open.
Oh, Perriman was right there too.
Run on a short field and possibly get a touchdown.
All right, so the next play we want to take a look at is the pick 6 that should have been called the pass interference. Pocket's pretty good. Derek Carr takes a shot at Hollins. Probably not the best decision he's ever made. Looks like, let's see, Adams was right there in the middle, but there were 2 people on him. Then Cole's trying to go wide. He takes the safety out. It would have been nice to see Derek hold on to the ball a little bit more and go after, I think that's Keelan Cole right there. It'd been nice to see that him take a deep shot right there, but he did force the ball a little bit. But I believe we get a shot of the PI right here. Oh, actually, we
Yeah,
don't.
and on this play, the referees did throw the flag, so they did
Right.
see
You
the
saw it
illegal
come in right
contact from the
there.
DB. Holland's head was pushed down before the ball even got to him, which is an illegal contact, if not a PI. And the referees did throw that flag. So that's why I said it's probably more frustrating when the referee sees the penalty, throws the flag, and decides, you know what? Never mind. They got a score. Chargers got a pick six out of it. We'll just pick it up.
Yeah. Well, it was him that he's the one that picked up the flag, and you can see the flag come from the side over here. Boom. But yeah, that should have been a flag. Turned out to be a pick six. No big deal, right? As we talked about, the Raiders are resilient, and Derek Carr's come back many times, and this team has seen him do that, so they know he can play.
I mean, could have been like I said, on a 2 game winning streak on a high, from those 2 games, and then come into a game like this and start slow to um, 2 turnovers, the fumble on Jacobs, and then that pick six. This team could have just let it get to them, and like I said, snowball down and let the Chargers have their way with them. But the Raiders stay resilient, and in this game, you got to have a short memory, and that's what the Raiders did.
So right here, we're gonna look at Chandler Jones' second sack. This is a big deal. You
Yeah,
know,
he pushed that rookie tackle into him. That's what you got to do. Drive that sled right into the quarterback, collapse that pocket, and you're right there to get that sack.
that was so. I think it looks. I guess we're playing. We got two safeties. Of course, there's Moreg. That was kind of weird. Where they both ended up on. I think his name is Everett, number 7.
Well, he started making plays in his game, so he was more of a threat than Keelan Allen was. Keelan Allen didn't even get a pass until the second half.
And there's nowhere to go. Great coverage, great pressure. I mean, the defense showed up. Take a look at the all 22 right here.
I mean, this was, we had good coverage on the receivers, but I'll say this is more of a defensive line sack than a coverage sack because they did collapse the pocket early, and Herbert wasn't able to stand back there and scope the field to find someone open. Chandler Jones is right there to push a tackle right into him, and Herbert could not. He didn't have enough time to scan the field, and it was taken down again. Number two, number two, second sack by Chandler Jones.
And Tillery, too, putting pressure up the middle. He was a
Tillery,
great
this is the
acquisition.
team that drafted him and they let him go. So he was running on extra emotion. Let them know that you know
They made a
I
mistake
got
letting
something
him
to
go.
prove.
I love it. There's plenty of Raiders that go somewhere else and come back and play well against us. It's nice to see somebody come to our team and play well against their team or their
Yes,
former team. So the
and
next,
you see,
go
I
ahead.
was saying you see how the defense was celebrating, with Chandler Jones because he was, Chandler Jones probably got that monkey off his back that he got not only his first sack, but he got 3 sacks in this game, and the defense was there to celebrate with him. He was relieved, you know, because we haven't heard his name being called out in all these games, and it's good to see the defense. Like Harmon said a couple weeks ago, we got to celebrate our teammates, and they're right there to celebrate with them. Keep that positive momentum going.
All right, so the next play we're going to take a look at is in the second quarter. The Raiders' fifth possession is Josh Jacobs' touchdown. This is the play that the same call for the 86-yard walk-off touchdown against the Seahawks last week. This is the bread and butter play right here. ISO
The
to the right.
the ISO.
Great blocking again. Oh, man.
Johnson just goes up there and just takes out the second level, takes out a linebacker.
Beautiful play. Look at this. Luminor
The holes are
getting
ready for me.
great. Foster Moreau get great blocking tight end. And then here comes Johnson. I would hate to get in that guy's way. Wow.
Boom. Look at that.
And then Hollins again comes up here on this time. Oh, on the last time though, Hollins was on this side of the safety. This time though, and Jake Johnson pushed out the guy over here. This time though, they both try to plug this in, but they just push him out. Beautiful block.
Yeah, Holland's assignment is to occupy that DB and let Jacobs decide, let him decide which way to go. So that's good that Hollins was able to get in there, a clean block to help seal that man out, and Jacobs have a free lane to the end zone, untouched.
Man, yeah, I hope we re-sign him because if we re-sign him, I'm definitely getting his jersey too. It's about time to get a Max Crosby jersey. That's another thing that we should talk about at some point, man. Is now we're starting to re-sign our guys. You go back and you look at the draft picks that we've had. They weren't so good, but now, we have some talent and we're starting to re-sign them. I love seeing it.
Yeah, we got cornerstones now that we can build a team around, not just on offense but also on defense. So that's what we need to do is continue to have guys, be the foundation, and then plug in other guys to, more talent so we can have a better offense, better defense. But we have our core group, our core guys that we can build off of.
Yep, and just build depth. All right, cool. So the next play we're gonna look at is in the second quarter. It's the Raiders' seventh possession. This is a 36-yard catch to end the half with Adams. Now we talked about the Raiders being able to get into position to score. Even though we missed that field goal, having Adams is huge. The guy he can work the middle of the field like nobody else, and then with the one-handed catch, you can see he can work the side of the sidelines like nobody else. So let's go ahead and take a look at this catch. Adams is down here on the bottom of the screen. They're playing man. They shaded over. Adams just beat it, cut underneath. That was great. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4. Take all of them surrounding them.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have, we haven't had a good receiver, like a good, consistent receiver probably since Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. We try to trade for a guy, top receivers like a Randy Moss didn't work out, AB didn't work out. We try to draft one and Henry Ruggs, unfortunately
That
that
didn't
didn't work
work
out.
out.
But we got a guy, an All Pro that we drafted. I think we should just draft a whole bunch of players that are Raider fans because maybe, wearing that jersey, they play with more pride. They understand the history. They understand, the fan base that, we live and die with this team and they don't want to let us down. Carr's a big Raider fan. Adams big. I'm just saying. I think that, that's what
I'm
we
a
should
big
do.
Raiders fan. Draft me.
Hey, I think I got some play got some left to play some plays.
Yeah,
Let's do
you
this.
play the left, I'll play the right.
Yeah, the all nation team. Let's go.
All right, cool. So we're starting this off. Let's see how we got. Look, Illuminor gets out there. I love how he gets that chip right there. Get your hands on somebody. Then Moreau gets a chip. Luminor starts to look over.
Yes,
Parham is with his guy. Miller's out
they
there
look a little
wide.
more they look a little more clean than the last game when we broke down, where there was some plays that they were just kind of like lost, or one guy was not blocking nobody,
Right.
while another guy snuck him from behind. So they looked a little bit more, working together. And as I said, each week, they build more continuity. They trust each other, and Carr trusts that line where he can sit back there and find someone open and not be, like how people say that he has happy feet.
Right.
It looks like he's been getting more comfortable, and he was not knocked down. He was not touched in this game, and you have guys like Mac, on the Chargers defense. Not one time did he really, get to Carr. The offensive line wasn't playing good.
Now Parham's getting pushed back a little bit more, but again, but he'll get stronger in the offseason. But he's holding up. Carr
As a
does that
rookie, yeah.
nice little shift right there in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield when the pressure starts to come in on him. Delivers the ball.
And Carr, he when he steps up in the
Looked like his
pocket,
hand was hit right there a little bit, huh?
he was real close to that tackle. The tackle almost got him.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, when Carr steps up in the pocket, it's his balls are more accurate, and they got more force in him. He's not throwing short, so Like I said, they're getting more confident back there, and Carr's trusting this line more and more each week, where he could be able to sit back there and make plays throwing the ball.
Coach McDaniels was talking about that too. You know how Carr's getting more and more comfortable. The offensive line's getting more and more comfortable. They're getting more and more comfortable with the calls. So you know what's next, audibles and things like that. And that's when this offense is really going to explode. So the next play that we're
Yeah.
going to take a look at is in the second quarter. It's the Chargers' fifth possession, and this is Jones's third sack. So man, I feel like they're playing single high. You know what I mean? But there is two guys, two safeties back here. Morex down here, but they're not. I think cover two, they're more lined up like that. I'll have
Well,
to
see,
go back and look at that first one.
I like how in his defense they're not giving so much, cushion.
Yeah.
They're up on these receivers because it seemed like in the beginning of the season they would just have like 6, 7, 8 yard cushion on these receivers, and the receivers are able to break and make their cuts and wide open. The middle of the field is wide open. So I like how these DBs. I don't know if it's Patrick Graham adjusting to these players and their strengths, but he's allowing them to be up on his receivers, and it's been working out.
So you can see that everybody's pretty well covered. Maybe right here is where the break comes, but the pocket's already collapsing. Yeah, Hobbs was still in position, and Jones comes through with his third sack.
Yeah, you got to get underneath and establish that low center of gravity and just drive. That's all leg strength,
Max is getting the double team.
of
Oh,
course.
we got chipped. Perriman went in with the blitz too.
It's also good that even though Max didn't get uh, a sack in his game, other players were able to come in and make plays, and you know we got what you said, 4 sacks. We got 4 sacks on the
No, five
Chargers,
sacks. Five.
5 sacks on the Chargers, three from Chandler Jones. That means the other defensive linemen are causing pressure. So you know that's good. That's good to see that we can get pressure, on the other side, or and especially through the interior, because that was the one place we were hurting when it comes to pass rush.
Yeah, every great defensive line has great interior linemen. Look at the Rams defensive line. Donald is a great interior defensive lineman, and he'll be coming up later on in the injury report. We'll find out if he's going to be playing or not. All right, so we're going to take a look, as we said, at the second quarter. Raiders' seventh possession, the Carlson blocked field goal. Again, it's great to see the team be able to move the ball at the end of the second half and get ourselves in position to score. That's going to be key in the future when it comes to winning games. Bill Belichick was great at that. You remember watching all the Patriots? They always were. They deferred, or they would kick off, and then they would always get the ball back and score. You know, with a few minutes to go in the second quarter, and then they'd come back in the third quarter and do it again. I mean, they were great about that. They were awesome at it, and I want to see our team do that.
Yeah, with more games under this system, defensively and offensively, we can become that organization where we constantly just win games, take care of games, overcome adversity, and just continue to improve.
And so, even though we were able to get into position, it did get blocked right here by number 92. You can see his hand right there, and it gets tipped.
Yeah, this game, it wasn't a great special teams game with the fake punt early in the game that we allowed with the Chargers, and then this blocked. We gotta you know block these guys. Keep that pocket clean for Carlson to make these plays. He is automatic, and this is the second straight game where he's missed a field, or the third straight game where he's missed a field goal. But special teams, we also gotta pick that up.
Oh yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on to the third quarter. Raiders' eighth possession, Carr's touchdown pass to Devontae Adams for 31 yards. I mean, Adams is he's a beast. Great little move right there. Goes and does a little double move. Shakes the dude out of his pants and gets wide open. Carr throws up a prayer. Great coverage though. I mean, the dude's all over him.
Yeah, and this play came right after the Eckler fumble. Starting the third quarter, the Chargers got the ball, starting the third quarter, and defense got that ball real quick. And on that next play, you know, we go deep, and this is the kind of offense that us Raider fans, we want to see. We want to see aggressiveness on first down. We want to see plays like that. Let's shoot for the end zone. We got a guy in Adams that can make plays. Just throw it up and he'll bring it down. And that's what we did on this play.
So let's take a look at the pocket. Illuminor. I love how he gets that hand out there and he's looking to the right. I talked about Parham doing that last week. This is what our guys need to do. High awareness, high IQ, keeping an eye out on everybody. Look at Moreau. Who's Moreau on? Is that Mac?
I think Mac was
That's
on
Mac.
the offensive right side.
That's Mac right there. So Moreau gets the chip on Mac. Illuminor gives Illuminor time to set up.
Yeah.
Illuminor sets.
They had a game plan. This offensive line had a game plan to contain Mac, and it worked out. Mac was barely on the stat sheet.
Although Miller almost gets pushed in the car, but Carr got the ball off in time. Great play. Yeah, this offensive line is getting much better week by week, and I believe we have a lot of these guys under contract for the next couple of years. So we can only improve, with not with just playing time, but with backup players. Got to build that depth like we just talked about a little while ago.
Yeah.
All right, so the last play that we're going to look at is in the third quarter, the Raiders' 9th possession, and this is Carr's second touchdown, the 45-yard to the 45-yard flea flicker to Adams, 2 times, back-to-back weeks. I talked about loving seeing it. I always wanted to see it more and more. Never got to see it successful a whole lot, and never thought I'd see it successful 2 weeks back-to-back. So let's take a look at this one.
I wanted this flea flicker was called because of the fried chicken comment. we were burning their DBs left and right, and I feel like this is just a slap in their face. Like, we're gonna do it again.
Now
we put it on film. Let's do it again.
I believe. Let's see. If you watch this guy right here, I believe Hollins gets tripped. See, he gets tripped right there. So that's Carr's bailout, right? But
so this is an all or nothing play.
Yeah, and Cole is wide open though too. But they hit Adams in stride. Beautiful.
And Adams, I think if you see it, Adams did he did act as if he was getting ready to run block, and then he just took off. And that's what you got to do. You got to, and that's what he does on the line of scrimmage. He already beats you mentally before even the ball is snapped.
Offensive line building a great wall of Raiderdom right there. And look, let's see. Yeah, does James trips Hollins right there. James getting it done any way he can, I guess. Offensive line holds up. This one was a lot better. It was better executed,
Yes.
Because remember, 93 almost blew this up last week.
Yeah. Jacobs almost got caught. He had to throw it early. But this one just seemed more cleaner and more smoother.
In stride.
And they get that over the shoulder in the bread basket.
All right, cool. So that about does it for the film room. It was nice to see Matt get shut out, right? It was nice to see Carr bounce back. It was nice to see Jacobs bounce back from their turnovers and continue to put up great numbers and get a win. It was nice to see Jones show up to the party because you saw that they were double teaming Max. Our interior linemen showed up. You know, we're being opportunistic. We're forcing fumbles in the secondary. We're forcing coverage sacks in the secondary. You know, our offensive line is getting better. I mean, we are. This is what we should have been, right? This is what everybody had the hopes for that this team would be, was this type of team. And you know what? I believe it was 3 games that we lost when we had a 17-point lead. You know, so we could be even better right now, and that is what's most disappointing. But as a Raider fan, you just got to be happy with to see that this team is not falling apart. That Josh McDaniels he still has the team. He hasn't lost the locker room, and that you know Patrick Graham is willing to do things that are different from some of the interviews that I've heard where they said he wouldn't do this and he wouldn't do that. He seems like he's doing a lot of that stuff now, so he's making adjustments on the fly.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to play to your players' strengths. You got to allow them to do what they do best. Don't let them think too much. Just let them play the sport of football. That's all it is, you know. And you know, Josh McDaniels, you know, we were still trying to find our identity. We tried to force the run in the beginning. It worked. Then he went away from it. Tried to force the pass. It worked a little bit, but we were still inconsistent. It seems like now we have established identity. We're smash mouth, but at the same time, we can go deep. And I feel like we're getting more aggressive because we're getting more comfortable with this playbook. Our offensive line is playing more better. They're understanding each other. They're you know like I keep saying, you know, continuity. It's key when it comes to offensive line. 5 guys working in one unit, and Carr's back there trusting that this line is going to hold up that defensive line where he can just sit back there and let the play develop, where he can go deep to Adams or Hollins, you know,
Or
and Josh
Renfro and Waller when
Jacobs.
they get back, you know.
Oh yeah, when Waller and Renfro when they come back, I mean, this offense is only going to get better. And Jacobs, he's controlling that line of scrimmage with the run. The defense has to play honest because they don't know the Raiders can be, you know, they hand the ball off to Jacobs, and now it's another flea flicker. We might see it again this on Thursday night's game. You know, and the Raiders have that confidence where they feel like they can run any play on a defense, and it'll end up with positive results. And that's what we need to do. We have to play with confidence, play with, you know, just always, you know, no letdown. This team was not, you know, the locker room was not lost. The Raiders are just, you know, it's just a slow start, unfortunately, but it just shows promise for the future. If not this season, next season should be a Memorial season. We got the Super Bowl coming into Vegas. I mean, this offense can only get better. And like you said, with Waller and Renfro coming back, if not this Thursday game, the game after, I mean, you never know.
You never know.
40 points a game.
Hey, you know, just keep controlling the line of scrimmage, be able to run the ball, and be able to go deep, right? And get bend, but don't break on defense. And that's a recipe for Super Bowls, and hopefully that happens in our stadium. And hopefully we win one in our stadium. All right, cool. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up Film Room for right now, and we're going to move on to Quick Hits.
I'm a motherfucking Raider.
All right, Raider Nation, here we are with Quick Hits. Now, in this segment, we're going to take a look back at the Week 10 post-press conference interview with Derek Carr after the Colts game. Now, he got very, very upset about that loss, you know, and he talks about, you know, all the things that the team has to endure week after week to try to get a win, and for it to end up like that, it's a terrible feeling, and you can see in his face and hear in his voice just how upset he is, which I think is important because, you know, you always want your quarterback to have some kind of passion and to get pissed off and to try to light a fire under the team's ass, you know. So I was kind of happy to see Derek Carr do this, you know, even though it put him in a position where Raider Nation could talk a lot of trash about him. You know, I hate seeing that, but I love seeing Derek Carr be a leader, and this is what sparked a 3-game win streak.
Derek, this obviously isn't where you guys expected to be at this point in the season. Do you have any explanation for just where this team stands right now?
You know, I can't speak for everybody. I know where I stand, and I love the silver and black. I'm going to give it everything I can every time I go out there. I can't speak for everybody. for every man what's going on in their head, but I can tell you what's going on in my head, and I'm going to give it all that I can every single time.
Derek, I'm going to ask this with the utmost respect. Last year, with what you did with this team, with everything you guys went through, you endured and got to the playoffs. This year, it just seems there's frustration at times, obviously, after these losses. Is there, in any way, a disconnect with what you're trying to do and this new staff as far as the system?
I don't think so. I love Josh. I love I love our coaches. They've had nothing but success, way more success than I've ever had, and I'm sorry.
Derek,
You know,
sorry, continue.
to finish that, sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things, that a lot of us try and do just to practice. What we put our bodies through just to sleep at night. And for that to be the result of all that effort pisses me off. Pisses a lot of guys off. It's hard knowing what some guys are doing. Like I said, just to practice what they're putting in their body just to sleep at night. Like just so we can be there for each other. And I wish everybody in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off, if I'm being honest.
Derek, obviously the game started a little slow first quarter, and then those couple of
All right, so you see a very emotional Derek Carr right there, and you hear him say, as a leader, it pisses me off. Again, you heard a lot of guys talk about being pissed off in the locker room right now. Not at Josh McDaniels, not at each other, but at the fact that things just aren't working out. And in Week 10 versus the Colts, it just turned into this emotional post-game press conference where Derek Carr just let it all out on the table. Hey, unmute yourself. Whoopsie.
I just think that Colts, see, look at, even we're over here working on our offense over here.
Right?
That Colts game, I think they were more embarrassed because that was when Jeff Saturday got hired, like 4 days before that game. And, to be embarrassed like that on your field, I think it was just kind of like that last straw, like that final, we can't keep allowing these things to happen. Last year, they had all these close games, the ball bounced their way. We had a lot of, close victories that got us to the playoffs. And this season, it just started off slow. We had leads that we gave up, a lot of plays that we didn't make, and the ball basically been bouncing the wrong way for us. And I think, that Colts game was the last straw. And that there's still a lot of heart, there's still a lot of pride in this team. And right there, Derek Carr is not one to call out players publicly. He's not one to show that kind of, angry emotion out in public. You could tell, but he was mad. He was trying to hold it in, and that stuff, it boils over, and he showed it right there. But that's just the passion that he has, not just for this team, but for this organization that he's loved since he was a child. And right there shows that, like you said, as a leader, it pisses him off. And, that game was like the last straw, that we're tired of these embarrassing losses, that we got to turn this around now, just to show that, we haven't given up on this team and on this season.
All right, so you fast forward 3 weeks later to the Raiders versus Chargers post-game press conference, and you hear not necessarily satisfied, but a Derek Carr that was happy that his team responded to such an emotional outburst.
Derek, it probably seems like forever ago, but the last time you were up at this podium, you kind of laid it on the line. got emotional about it and put it out there. Safe to say you feel like the guys in the locker room and everybody else in this operation responded accordingly.
It was a quick 3 weeks, wasn't it, man? I feel like, for me, I think it was just the frustration and the anger of certain things, that I don't regret. Things needed to be said, things needed to be handled. And when you love a place and you love a organization, when you love something so much, I mean, you put your heart into it, And so to see the way we've responded since then, that makes me, it's a proud moment for me. I'm happy about it. But we got a long way to go until I feel really good about it.
Defense gave up.
So he's not content. As you just hear, he says we got a long way to go. He's still being a leader. He's happy though that it got the team fired up. But again, still lots of work to do. Lots and lots of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a 3-game winning streak, but that's not, we still got a lot of work to do. Like you said, defensively, offensively, and the offense is getting better and everyone's working together, but you're never going to be satisfied. As a leader, you're never satisfied. You're always trying to play for perfection, even if that's unattainable. That is what you try to go for because you want to sustain these wins. These are not fluke wins like we probably had last season. You want to sustain the success and keep going, and that's what he's striving for.
And of course, we'll take a look at some clips from Josh Jacobs and Hobbs and the post-game locker room interviews where they mentioned the fact that they did not, they mentioned the fact that Keenan Allen was talking about them being barbecue chicken, the team being barbecue chicken, the defense. This team is not going to just lay down and let anybody just say whatever they want. This team is going to fight back, and if you mess up and give them bulletin board material, they're going to punish you. So let's take a look at these few clips.
I know you kind of worked out before the game today. How close were you to not being able to go?
I was going today. It wasn't really a question for me today. It was especially. Nah, I can't say that.
Oh.
Yeah. Barbecue chicken. Baked chicken.
I know everybody's been.
So right there, Josh Jacobs is talking about the fact that he was stretching, right? And he was, no matter what, he was going to go. And they poked a bear. It was because of the barbecue chicken statement that he was going to go no matter what, So this team is willing to put their body on the line to get a win and protect each other's dignity, and stick up for each other.
Yeah, and Josh Jacobs has been finding motivation everywhere against the Seahawks last week, or the game previous to this Charger game. It was a fan out there, a Seahawks fan out there with a sign that said, all that talent and no whatever it said. And Josh Jacobs saw that come out the tunnel and was like, okay, I'll show you. Ended the whole game on an 86-yard sprint down the line, down the field to close out that game. And then Josh Jacobs found motivation in Keenan Allen's statement talking about, I'm gonna, it's gonna be like fried chicken out there, thinking Allen was gonna go out there and burn our DBs, but we were the ones that had the long passes for touchdowns, so it kind of, backfired on Allen. This team's finding any kind of motivation to keep going and showing these opponents that, we're not playing around no more. We're not taking that kind of mess anymore.
Yeah, and this is from the offense. Now let's hear from the defense on the barbecue chicken statement.
Talking to the secondary about what Keenan Allen said, was that a factor at all out there?
Barbecue chicken. That's all I got to say.
That's all you have to say, right?
Barbecue chicken. I know this was your first one.
So, it bothered this team. It really did bother this team. And Hobbs went out there and had a great game. And if he can stay healthy, he's another guy we might need to consider re-signing real quick. And, I'm just hopeful that this team can get these guys signed because these guys get fired up and they want to win for this team and they want to win for each other. So it's something special to see.
Yeah, I know Hobbs is one of another guy that we had drafted in the mid rounds, and him having to be out 4 games with the broken hand, broken wrist. He was itching to come back. And his first game, I mean, he had a fumble recovery. He was sticking to guys. I mean, that's what we missed back there in the backfield. And Hobbs wanted to make his presence known that yeah, I took 4 games off, but I'm back and I'm better. I'm healthy, ready to take over these games.
So the moral of the story is, when this team gets pissed off, we are more than capable of winning 3 games, hopefully more throughout the season. Let's hope we win out. But just hopefully, this team can learn to motivate itself without any bulletin board material. But
Yeah, I mean that's all we gotta do is one game at a time. You have a veteran back there in Harmon. He's been carrying the secondary, and that's someone that Hobbs is probably learning under and making him a better player. And you have Rockinson on the other side. You know these veteran corners and veteran DBs. That experience is coming to the young guys like Hobbs, and it's now starting to come together. And they're playing pissed, they're playing mad, and that's what you got to do. That aggressiveness, not letting the man beat you, like taking things personal, and that's what the Raiders have been doing, and it's been working for them.
And then this week on Thursday Night Football, we got a huge task on our hands, taking on the Rams with defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, who last we faced Morris he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and that did not turn out so well. And then, of course, they just threw in Baker Mayfield. So now the team's been preparing for one quarterback. Now we got to prepare for another one. And we're gonna look at these videos where Coach McDaniels talks about that and his experiences with the same thing, and we'll see what Baker Mayfield can do. And then shortly we'll get into a clip of Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Graham's defense in New York. So let's listen to Coach Coach McDaniels.
Coach, obviously, how is the team kind of preparing for the mindset of if Baker Mayfield goes against them?
Yeah, I mean, just we're have a quick summary of what he's done and seen some of that quickly, and I know some of our guys have coached against him. I've coached against him. Just kind of understanding the kind of player he is and some of the strengths and weaknesses of that's what we're really cramming on everybody right now. If that happens, then we'll have an idea of what he's done and what he does, and and just compete as hard as we can against him. So there's nothing magic we can do here in a short week like this when they claim a guy on a Tuesday. It is what it is.
As somebody who's coached offenses their entire career, how probable is it that a quarterback can come in one day and learn the playbook enough to be effective on a game in 24 hours?
It's probably a lot of factors that would go into that. Was there any familiarity before? Has he ever played in a system with terminology that was similar? You know what I mean? That could or could not be the case. There could be some strains of information that he's obviously aware of from who he's played for to this point. And then I think most importantly is what you would ask of him. What you ask him to do. Is it the whole playbook? That's probably unlikely. Is it a part of it or pieces of it? And it depends on the player, really. There's definitely been times where we've added players and then been able to get them up to speed enough to contribute. It's just a matter of how much you're looking to do with them. So I had a similar situation years ago where we got added a guy in the middle of the week and tried to cram as much as we could because we had to based on injury. But it's definitely not out of the question. I think there's a lot of factors that would go into whether or not they would want to do that or not, though.
How well did that work out?
He actually played pretty good. We didn't win, but he played pretty good. So, again, I think each person would be different. It was Kellen Clemens, actually, was the quarterback. And, I don't remember how many days we had that week, but he definitely wasn't there for like 3 weeks. He was there for a very short period of time. So, each guy would be different. Handle it.
What's the biggest challenge for you?
So, it's not unheard of, right? Coach McDaniels has experience with this same situation that the Rams are in now. Injuries to the quarterback, the starting quarterback. You have to go to your backups, and then you end up with this quarterback that just comes out of nowhere, and you have limited amount of time to get him up to par. But, you know, in this game, expect it to limit the Rams' playbook, but at the same time, the Rams love to run screens and bootlegs. So, you know, Baker Mayfield is dangerous, even though he hasn't played very well against us. You know, he can come in as this week's X factor for the Rams and just throw everything into chaos for us.
I mean, you know, thinking about this whole situation when they had signed him yesterday or claimed him off waivers yesterday, it reminded me of the 2011 season when the Raiders had Campbell and he broke his collarbone against the Browns, and then they went and go and traded for Carson Palmer, and they wasn't expecting to play him that next game against the Chiefs, but I forgot if it was Bowler or the other whoever was the backup quarterback threw like 3 interceptions, 2 for returns. They had to throw in Carson Palmer on like 2 days or 3 days of studying. So yeah, it's not unheard of. Uh, and I'm pretty sure because Baker Mayfield is a type of quarterback that likes to run around and make plays on his feet, extend plays outside the pocket. So they're probably gonna just give him the basics and let him basically just read and react out there if he does play. And you know, being that it's a Thursday game, the Raiders already had a game plan set before they even played the Chargers this season. This past week. So it does kind of throw a wrinkle into the preparation for this game if Mayfield does, in fact, play or start. But, you know, you have to prepare for anything. And, you know, like in this league, you know, you just got to prepare for the worst, prepare for any kind of situation. This is a unique situation, but it's not something that's new. And the Raiders just have to, you know, defense contain like they did with Herbert and just try to keep the plays in front of them on defense and not let Baker Mayfield make plays, you know, off his feet. Because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to try to do is let him react to the play and let him try to make plays on his own. That's the only thing they can do. He only had 2 days to study. He's not going to have the playbook, but they're probably going to be simple plays, and we have to make sure that we just contain him and, you know, keep him at bay, not let him come into this new team and have his way with us.
All right, so we are up next. We have Derek Carr's thoughts on the Baker Mayfield probability that he'll start. So let's go ahead and listen to that.
Gotcha. Derek, I'm not sure you heard, but the reference to that Baker Mayfield off waivers, and I know that not your issue, but as a quarterback, is it doable to maybe? I mean, he's eligible to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure the systems that he's been in. You know, the terminology and all that kind of stuff. There's some systems that you could possibly do that, and you know all those things. But you know, that's more power to him. But you know, I'm focused on their defense because their defense is pretty good.
Obviously, it's.
So there's Derek Carr on the Baker Mayfield acquisition by the Rams. You know, just again, you know, he talks about what McDaniels talks about. It just depends on how he can handle the situation. So we'll see what happens this week. So one thing we could take, the last video we got right now is of Baker Mayfield versus the Giants in 2020. And again, this is a Patrick Graham-led defense. So let's check out these highlights.
A little thin.
2nd and 6, and Mayfield fires.
We'll turn down the audio right there. But you're going to see that Mayfield has no problem attacking this defense at all.
Yeah, Mayfield, you know, he's that type of quarterback that always has something to prove. You know, is always going to try to make plays, try to sling it, and you know it can work in your favor, and you know it can cause turnovers, and that's what we're hoping and expecting that happens this Thursday night game where he tries to get overconfident, and we're right there to make plays on him.
Well, you see that, you know, again, Baker Mayfield is definitely a threat. But hopefully, you know, Patrick Graham right now, you would hope that he has a better roster now with the Raiders than he did with the Giants, you know. The Giants, I've heard some interviews with some of their beat writers where they had no confidence in Patrick Graham because he wouldn't blitz very much. He was always rushing four, and they just seemed to really give it up, when they needed to show up. But here recently, the Raiders have been playing very, very good on defense and keeping the team to a point where, the opposing offense to a point where our offense can have a chance to win the game for us. So hopefully Patrick Graham can make the adjustments from this last game because we do not want to see Baker Mayfield going all down the field like this against us. That's for sure.
I mean, Patrick Graham seems to adjust to, like I said earlier, adjust to the players that he has and adjust to their strengths. And we just got done facing, a quarterback that a lot of people see as, like the next Dan Marino and Herbert. So, and Herbert is he's not a hunt, a mobile quarterback, but he will make plays with his feet. So we should be able to contain Baker Mayfield. We just can't let ourselves play down to the competition. Yes, the Rams are the defending Super Bowl champions, but they don't have all their guys there. Cooper Kupp is not going to be there. The offensive line has been decimated by injuries. So we should be able to control this game on defense and be able to make plays and get Baker Mayfield down on the ground like we did to Herbert this past week.
Well, let's hope so. Now that's gonna do it for quick hits. So let's move on behind enemy lines. All right, Raider Nation, here we go behind enemy lines, where we're gonna take a look at the Rams and the Seahawks on Week 13. The Rams lost this game. The Seahawks were able to come back in the fourth quarter. It was a close game, though. Again, we want you to kind of see how the Rams offense works. And again, this is a Raheem Morris led defense on the Rams, which he called a hell of a game against us when he was with Atlanta. So it's pretty important to find out what's going on right here with this Rams team.
Yeah, this is another example of a division game. Two teams, throw the records out the window. So these are two teams playing hard for pride in this division.
Okay, so
even the Rams could be playing with pride because we're going to take over their stadium. So we'll see if they come out with that same kind of fire because we still own LA regardless if they won their championship there last year.
Now that play you'll see a lot where they roll out right and they throw to the left. That's one play you'll see a lot in these next few clips that we're going to be studying the Rams. Again, you'll see that in 5 wide receiver sets, they like to run screens. They'll roll out to the right, and then they'll throw back left. They do some pretty complicated stuff. And, of course, McVay is known for being a great play caller.
Yeah, McVay coming from that John Gruden tree back in Tampa Bay. We just got to have gap responsibilities. We can't get sucked in and allow these holes to be open for these screens or for these runs up the middle. We got to keep containment in every gap that we have responsibilities in.
That's Bobby Wagner with the sack right there. So we are going to have to worry about Bobby Wagner right now or this Thursday night, and he was playing lights out in this game. Of course, you see that you can move the ball on the Rams defense. That's why they're 3-8. But again, we need to break that Morris curse and get that revenge for that Falcon game, because he shut us down.
Yeah, that was a bad game in the 2020 season right after Thanksgiving. We got to just make sure that we got to keep their defense offense with the running game. That'll open up the passing game. Maybe even see another flea flicker for the third straight week in a row. You never know.
I don't think so. I don't know, but you never know. If Jacobs is running like a madman, yeah, he could be.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the line of scrimmage, and our offensive line, they're getting better each week. So this would be a good test. If Aaron Donald plays or not. If Aaron Donald plays, then we got to really, be able to contain him. And if not, we still got to make sure that we keep this defense honest and open up those holes for Josh Jacobs and hold and block, get more time for Carr to throw down the field to Hollins or Adams,
Now, one
possibly
thing,
Waller.
yeah, hopefully. Now, the Rams have been scoring 16.8 points a game, which put them at 29th overall. Their defense is giving up 23.3 points a game, which puts them at 22nd overall. Our offense is ranked 9th, scoring 24.3 points a game. Unfortunately, our defense is giving up 24.7 points a game, good for 26 in the league. Now, here's the thing, though. We had to deal with the Jeff Saturday loss. Now we got this guy coming in 3 days, 1 day, 2 day practice. We cannot lose this game. I expect this defense to be able to hold the Rams offense to right around 16 to 20 points. That's going to be key to winning this game, because this Ram offense is not scared to chunk the ball. You see him throwing the ball everywhere as it is. They're not going to be afraid to move the ball, and Baker Mayfield's never been scared to play. So, I mean, there's a lot on our plate when it comes to these Rams.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield coming in, he's gonna have extra motivation because he knows that they think that, oh, he doesn't know the playbook, it should be an easy game. Baker Mayfield always comes out there with confidence, like as if he has something to prove, and we gotta hope that he gets overconfident and starts throwing mistakes, making mistakes and throwing balls for our way. But we just gotta make sure that he don't make plays out there, because he can make plays on his feet. As you saw in the clip earlier when he played for the Browns, he can make first downs on his feet. He's not afraid to, run up the middle or run out of defense. He's not afraid to take hits, and we got to make sure we contain him. That's on the ends of Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, and up the middle. We just got to make sure that this defensive line can control this quarterback and this offense.
Now, the rush defense for the Rams is ranked 4th overall, giving up 96 a game. So, again, Josh Jacobs, the Broncos had a good run defense, and Josh Jacobs showed up in there. So, just seeing them at 4th overall does not mean that the Rams are going to be able to stop Josh Jacobs, but they are 22nd in the league, the Rams defense, giving up 236-yard passing a game. So expect Devontae Adams to have a huge game again. Now, Jalen Ramsey, he does move around the field a lot, so he might shadow Adams, but I think that Adams is more than capable of handling Ramsey. And then, as you heard in the interview, Adams is not scared at all. He says if Ramsey wants to talk, they'll talk. If not, he's just going to play. But I think that Adams is going to have another big game right here.
I mean, and like I said earlier, Adams and Carr are starting to get used to each other again. That you didn't see that continuity in the beginning of the season, but now Carr's not afraid to throw into those tight windows to let Adams make a play. Rip the ball out of the hands of the DBs like he did in that touchdown in this last week. So this Raider offense should come out aggressive no matter who's covering Adams, because they know that Adams most likely will come at that play, and the Raiders have to come out aggressive, and they can't start off slow like they did in this last game. They have to stay aggressive and stay disciplined, hold on to that ball, make the right decisions. They can't give this Rams team any kind of confidence in this game, especially on a short week.
Right. And one thing that they really need to worry about also is that the Rams ran for 171 yards last week versus the Seahawks. So our defense has to be disciplined. This could be a huge game for Denzel Perryman again. He usually leads the team in tackles. He's definitely going to have to show up in this one and really shut down the Rams run game and force Baker Mayfield to take chances, because that's what you want. This defense has been opportunistic of late, right? Coming up with turnovers when they need to, erasing, or negating the turnovers that we've put up. So it's very important that we control the line of scrimmage again, as we talked about earlier, and put the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands and let Crosby and Jones do their work. As you saw Wagner right there on the hit. Again, we still got a lot to worry about with Wagner and Ramsey and now Baker Mayfield. They're not a pushover team. This is a team that's just coming off of a Super Bowl win. They just had some bad luck with Matthew Stafford going down and some injury bugs. We're still going to find out if Aaron Donald's going to be a part of this or not. So, this is not going to be. Let's just hope this doesn't become a trap game, right? Because this offense, like I said, we'll take a look at what they've done against Patrick Graham, and then we'll take a look at Josh McDaniels versus the Rams as well. But yeah, this is a game that could become a trap game, but this is a game that we should win. Again, we cannot lose to a coach that had no coaching experience and then a quarterback coming off being cut, and we can't do that. We can't do that twice in the season.
Yeah, we can't lose to a quarterback that was studying on the plane going to LA as he got picked up off of waivers. This yes, for it being a short week on a Thursday, this has all the makings of a trap game. And even though this is an inferior team compared to last year's Super Bowl winning team due to injuries and just guys next man up, all their stars have been sidelined due to injury. They can't play this team as if they are a weak team. The Raiders do have a tendency to play down to the competition, to the talent, of the field. And they need to jump on this team early and keep the foot in the gas to the point where they keep their foot on their necks. They cannot let this team get any kind of confidence. They can't play close with this team. They have to put this team away early because they have the capability of doing it. This is not the same round team as last year's, but they can't think that way. They have to come and just lay the hammer on this team early and often.
And don't give up anything deep. Don't let this team score quickly and keep our defense on the field. Our defense has to get in there, 3 and out, shut down the run, get out of there. And be smart, right? Because we'll see, the screen is a huge part of the Rams offense. So you got to be smart. Your awareness has to be high in this game.
Yes. So awareness and discipline.
Right.
You can't let them, trick our defense. If like the D line, if they know they're getting it for free, they got to yell screen, 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 screen. They got to watch those backs coming out and sneaking out to the side, bubble screens. Those kind of, that's what they do. And this defense has to stay disciplined, watch their man, stay in their zones or whatever defensive call they're in. They have to make sure they stick to their man and not let this team, march downfield with screens or Baker Mayfield rolling out and making plays. They have to keep containment. They just have to play smart football. They've been doing well these last 3 games, but this is the test right here. This is the test right here on a short week with a new quarterback possibly. They have to stay disciplined, and they can't allow this team to gain any kind of confidence. They have to keep their foot on the gas and just, play their game. The Raiders got to play their game and not worry about anything else but their game.
And, looking at Geno Smith move the ball like he was, I believe that Derek Carr can move the ball on this Rams defense. We're talking about Mayfield, but look at Walford, right? Even if Mayfield doesn't play, Walford is a little bit of a threat. He's got nothing to lose, right? Everything to gain. So he's going all out. This is just definitely a game where we got to win and be disciplined to do that, for sure.
Yes, and this whole Rams team has nothing to lose because there's nothing to play for them. There's no chance for them to go into the postseason to defend their title. So this team is just playing on pride, and they could be spoilers to us, to our slim chances of getting in, but we can't allow this team. We can't allow ourselves to get trapped in this game. We gotta just we have to control this game from tip off to end of the game, or kickoff, tip off, kickoff. When a toe hits the pigskin, we have to control this game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And again, some of the key players to watch out for: Baker Mayfield being a wild card, Cam Akers as the running back. We'll see from him in a little while. He's definitely capable of blowing up. You saw number 12 Jefferson putting up a couple of numbers. You got Bobby Wagner. You got Jalen Ramsey. We'll see what happens with Aaron Donald. This is no pushover team. This is a team that we're going to be prepared for, I believe, but we're definitely going to have to be prepared.
Yes. It's just, we have a game plan. of course, with Baker Mayfield, we got to add a little bit more, like you said, awareness. But we can take this. We can take this team. We can take this game. We just have to play within our, play with confidence, play with aggression, keep that same fire going. Don't let a team that's down, come up and take over. We gotta play as if this team is the same team as last year because we play up to our competition, we play down to our competition. We just have to, stay aggressive, control the line of scrimmage with Josh Jacobs, and open up the passing game to Devontae Adams and all the receivers, and we could get Waller back, we could get Renfro back, so we'll have more weapons on offense. It could be a shootout, you never know. But we just got to stay disciplined and just play our game. We can't let this team get sneak up, keep it tight. We gotta just put this team down early and just control this game throughout.
All right, so we're about to wrap up behind enemy lines. You see that the Rams lost as the Seahawks were able to come back at the end of the fourth quarter and beat them. Again, we got to stop the run and don't let these guys come off out of nowhere and beat us. So with all that being said, let's move on to the next segment, which we're going to go into the film room and take a look at Josh McDaniels versus the Rams and Patrick Graham's defense versus the Rams. One nation, one nation. All right, Raider Nation, here we are back in the film room, getting ready to take a look at the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Rams. This was when Coach McDaniels was the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, and he was moving the ball or playing against the Rams. Sean McVay coached Rams. They did not win this game, so some of this doesn't really bode well. These videos we're about to show you, Graham's defense didn't play well against the Rams, and the Patriots' offense didn't play well against the Rams. So this is something that we need our coaches to know and make some adjustments because, again, this team does have some talent. They're wounded animal. The back's in the corner. They just came up. They came off a fourth quarter loss. They don't want to lose to the Rams. We've lost to the Rams a lot lately. We've been blanked by them twice. So we got to get this win. This is an important win, and it starts with Josh McDaniels learning from his previous experiences facing the Rams. So here, let's take a look at that. Let me get the stats, bring up the stats. In this game, New England only got first 10 downs. They were able to rush for 107. They were sacked 6 times for 33 yards. And they had 1 turnover. Now, this is not a Raheem Morris-led defense. So it's a little different. But as you can see, we were unable to move the ball against them. Of course, Jared Goff is no longer the quarterback. This is just, give us an idea of what Josh McDaniels might be doing against the Rams.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, with all the turnaround, it's kind of hard to get some footage to look at, especially on a short week. But again, I think it's important to show how Josh McDaniels tries to attack this defense. It just did not work out with him. He had Cam Newton at quarterback. So that was, you'll see them. They get up to the goal line here in a little while, and they try to run a QB sneak at the goal line as to where you'll see, either you will be handing the ball off to Josh Jacobs, or tossing the ball up on a fade to Devontae Adams. So, of course, it's going to be a lot different. But this is just, again, these are just something that, to give us a look at.
Yeah, the Patriots team that he had coached in 2020, that was their first year without Brady. So their offense wasn't as talented as it's been throughout the years. So yeah, it is hard to try to judge or try to see, the McDaniels versus this Rams defense because it's not all the same components or the same talent level. But it just shows like what kind, what it will look like possibly We have, a quarterback, an established quarterback in Carr, and an All-Pro receiver with Devontae Adams, with a, All-Pro this year with running back with Jacobs. I
Now,
mean, it's going to look a lot more better
now
than this Patriots team.
you just saw that screen. That's one thing I wanted to point out. That's something I could see Baker Mayfield, excelling at, is those screens, the wide receiver screens. That helps him out. You know what I mean? He won't have to be so worried about being attacking downfield. They're going to call plays that make high percentage plays that help him out, and then you'll see that they also like to roll out in the offense. But these are all you've seen all these formations. These are all Josh McDaniels formations. So I would hope that we will be able to duplicate, some of the successful plays, and then definitely capitalize on the mistakes that he made. But yeah, you got the pick six right there. This is definitely an underwhelming team. But remember, this is the team that beat us that same year. That was frustrating to watch.
Yeah, and I remember that game.
Yeah. So the Rams are in complete control this whole game. But again, McDaniels doesn't get away from the run. That's one thing he likes to do. Sticks with the play action and attacks the ball in the middle of the field. You've seen Devontae Adams run in the middle of the field here lately. And now here's where they try to run with Newton. I think that's just a terrible call, but what are you going to do? And then you're doing that college, RPO type stuff, trying to get that pitch.
I think what they were trying to do when they had Cam Newton was play to his strengths,
right,
which is more running than really throwing. And I think that got them caught up in a lot of losses because he didn't last the season as a starter. So that's why, yeah, it is hard to judge what it'll look like because this is not really the type of offense that McDaniels would call. Because Brady is more of a pocket passer, Carr is more of a pocket passer. Cam Newton likes to run and use his feet, and I think they overused him a lot trying to do these option plays. So this will not be what it'll look like when we play the Rams Thursday night, but it does show that McDaniels does try to use the run to control the game and control the clock. But it will look more successful with the guys we got because we have more talent on offense compared to this Patriots team in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, look, you see, they do all kinds of nice little calls. I mean, they were able to move the ball a little bit. It's just inconsistent because of Newton's again, like you say, that they had to play to his strengths. But as you know, McDaniel's like a quarterback. He likes a quarterback that can stand in the pocket and deliver down the field, like a Tom Brady or Derek Carr. They even did well with Mac Jones. Mac Jones' first year. That's the style of quarterback that McDaniel's likes in his offense. Of course, Cam is Cam, and he went to the Super Bowl and everything, but it just did not work out.
Yeah, and as you can see after this stint, I mean, he did go back to the Panthers, but that didn't last long either. Cam Newton is no longer in the league. This is on the the downside of his career, so this is not a talented Patriots offense that McDaniels was working with. So, like I said, this is not an indication of what it'll look like on Thursday night.
Right. But you do see that again. McDaniels is not afraid to go down the field against this defense. He's not afraid to stick to the run against this defense. They just could not make the plays, and
Yes.
The Rams are at this point. This is probably the one. They're entering the peak of their dynasty, or not dynasty, but their Super Bowl run. They're starting to warm up for that.
They were just a quarterback away from winning it all the following year.
Right. They definitely had a great defense. Again, you see the screen, the wide receiver screen. Expect to see that a lot. QB sneak. That's twice that you've seen the QB run in short yardage situation or sneak in short yardage situation. So you can expect to see that from McVay as well. But again, it's just, we're getting to look at how Josh McDaniels tried to call against the Rams defense and how the Rams call their offense. Because even though, this is golf and they got Baker Mayfield and they won with Stafford, those are, quarterbacks that are similar in my opinion. You know what I mean? Baker Mayfield in golf really kind of maybe overhyped, but were capable to a certain extent. Matthew Stafford struggled in Detroit until he came to it and had a great defense and won a Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield fits the profile of the quarterback that the Rams like. And of course Cam Newton didn't when it came to the Patriots in this game. But yeah. See, Cam, you can't do anything. You can't move around. So we're definitely gonna have to look. See, they noticed that screen right there. Look, there's Stidham getting sacked. So they had to move Stidham in because Cam was performing. He was underperforming. They had to move Stidham in. Funny that Stidham is on our team now. Hopefully we don't see him in this game.
Where this is more of the type of offense that McDaniels would like to call with that type of quarterback that he's more comfortable with using.
Right. I mean, you see the style of the run style that they like to run. You see what their offense is doing. They all moved to the right on that last play. And hopefully these little wide receiver in routes, runs, they don't come back to haunt us. Again, not a whole lot to see from the Patriots offense, but then you saw some wide receiver screens from the Rams offense. Expect to see some of that. You've seen the Rams offense roll out right and throw left. You've seen them run screens and 5 receiver sets. They definitely open it up and run some pretty interesting things. Now this next highlight is the Rams versus the Giants, and this is a Patrick Graham-led Giant defense. This game did not go well at all either, but as you see, the Giants, they almost turned that ball over, and they end up turning the ball over in the Rams red zone twice. So that was 14 points that led to a 38-point blowout. But this is a Raheem Morris led Rams defense though. So expect to see some of these defensive styles or formations in this Thursday night's game. We know that Cooper Kupp is out, so that hurts their offense. We don't know about Aaron Donald. We'll check that out in the injury report. But Raheem Morris definitely has his defenders running to the ball.
Yeah, but this Giants team, I know they're doing good this year, but this Giants team was trying to get used to life after Eli Manning, so the offense was not helping out the defense, and they put the defense into bad situations, a short field to defend. So hopefully Patrick Graham, this time around facing the Rams on Thursday night, with the guys that we have and the offense that we have to control the game and keep the defense fresh on the sideline, that they're coming out more more fresh and be able to make plays against this Rams offense.
And expect McVay to take a look back at this tape too. You know what I mean? Because he had no problem moving the ball down the field against this secondary. Of course, now our secondary, it may not be the best, but we do got a good pass rush, and our secondary is opportunistic when it comes to turnovers. So hopefully that works out in our favor. Here you see a sack on them. I think that was Leonard. I can't remember his last name. I remember a lot of Raider fans wanted us to draft him.
But yeah, this this is the Giants on offense, but I mean, I feel like Patrick Graham has more talented guys. And yeah, like you said, with the defensive line, starting to show that they can put more pressure on the quarterback the last couple of games, that will help complement the DBs in the backfield and have them play more aggressive, have them play more tight man to man coverage where they can be more opportunistic and get some turnovers in the air. Especially with Baker Mayfield, he's going to sling it. That's what he does. He's going to sling it. So there'll be more opportunities for us to steal some interceptions against a guy who just got the playbook 2 days ago. So it should be a better outcome for Patrick for his
Patrick Graham.
defense. So Patrick Graham's defense. So you know we should just, as long as we get pressure on Baker Mayfield, keep him contained, and make him rush throws. We can get turnovers. We can turn this game around early
Now let's pull
and
up
get
some
more opportunities
stats.
for offense.
So yeah, and like again in this game, Patrick Graham's defense gave up 22 first downs, 131 yards on the ground, 251 yards in the air. They had 2 sacks for negative 17 yards, and then they forced 2 turnovers. Unfortunately, the Giants gave up 4 turnovers. So this is kind of the Giants' offense put Patrick Graham in a bad situation. So that's definitely one thing our offense cannot do. But here lately, it's been Patrick Graham's defense putting our offense in good situations. So hopefully that trend continues.
Yeah, and with our offense, we can control control the clock with the run, keep our defense fresh. You know, because in the beginning of the season, our defense had to go out there and they were on the field too long. I think that's why we had so much bad breakdowns on defense. But our offense now has been controlling the clock with Josh Jacobs running, and keeping the defense on the sideline, fresh for when they go back out in the field. So with a good defense, a good offense helps a good defense. So we should be able to have more success in the last 2 videos we've seen with you know McDaniel's Patriots team of 2020 and Patrick Graham's defense with the Giants. Is this also 2020?
No, this is last year. This is 2021.
Yeah, so I mean it should be a better outcome. We have more talent on defense and we have a better ball controlled offense. So we should be able to control this Rams team on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, this is where they start to take off. And they really just turned this game into a blowout. And then Darrell Henderson, let's see, who? Let's see, Seahawks, Rams. Yeah, so Cam Akers is still on this team. Trying to see who the number 37 was. Cooper Kupp will not be in this game, and it remains to be seen. But you see how this defense, it's resilient too. It doesn't want to give up. It's just it's been put in a bad position, because of the turnovers that the Giants were, giving up. But Patrick Graham, he's always coaching. He seems to keep his guys in there. Let's see, they pick up the screen again. You see the screen. As soon as I say that, right, their awareness goes away. And the screen just blows open the doors.
Yeah, and
counters.
As long as we get pressure because I haven't seen too much pressure put in this defensive line against Stafford and their offensive line. So they don't have a Max Crosby coming around the corner or coming around the edge, and maybe we have a resurgence Chandler Jones. You know, so with this defense, I mean, we can close this pocket, collapse this pocket on Baker Mayfield if he's playing, and have our DBs with more opportunities, and Perriman controlling the run up the middle. We should have a good game against this offense. Patrick Graham, it doesn't seem like he has the same kind of talent that he has now with this Raider team. So we should be able to control this team Thursday night.
We definitely need to. But like I said, Raheem Morris, he had our number in Atlanta, so that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens, because it looks like, McVay had no problem with Graham's defense, and we did have problems with Morris's defense. So everything, as long as we our players, though, as long as our roster shows up and continues to play pissed off like they've been playing over the last 3 weeks, we can dominate this team. This is an injured team. And of course, we're starting to get healthy. So these are the type of games that we got to win. Again, we cannot let Baker Mayfield come in after a few days of practice and beat us, especially since we lost to Jeff Saturday. So I want to see this team become the team that it needs to be by beating teams like this.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield didn't really practice. Everything on the Thursday game, short weeks, is all basically just walk through and game film. So they can't let a guy that basically just came fresh off of a plane to come in and just make plays against them. So, this Raiders defense has to contain Baker Mayfield and confuse him, make him throw early, make him make mistakes because he is aggressive and he will try to go downfield. And we have to let him try to do that and give our DBs opportunities to get turnovers and maybe some, a pick six.
Yes, some defensive points would be perfect in this game. All right, cool. So that does it for the film room. This segment of the film room where we took a look at Josh McDaniels versus the Rams defense, and we took a look at the Rams offense versus Patrick Graham's defense. So with all that being said, let's move right on to the next segment, which is the injury report. All right, Raider Nation, here we go with our final segment of the week, this week's injury report. This has been a long episode, so we're just going to kind of skim through this real quick. Right now, we're looking at the Raiders injury report. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on a short week. Amir Abdullah, full practice on Wednesday, limited on Tuesday and Monday, not listed. Andrew Billings, fibula, did not partake, so he is out again. Now, that's a big blow because I think Billings was coming on strong until that fibula hit him the way it did. And then we got Brandon Bolden, pretty much a non-factor, limited practice, not listed. Curtis Bolton, linebacker, ankle, limited practice, full practice, not listed. Jayon Brown, hand, did not partake, he's out. Tyler Hall, cornerback, did not partake, limited practice, questionable. Daron Harmon, quadricep, limited practice until Wednesday, today, with the full practice, not listed. Jesper Horsted, tight end, concussion, did not partake. He is out. Josh Jacobs still with the quad. Limited practice. He's questionable. He will play. Andre James, quadricep, limited practice. Full practice today, not listed. Everybody else, these next three are not listed. That's Perryman, full participant. Isaiah Palomau, limited until Wednesday with the full. Trent Sig with his ankle has been full practice, not listed. And then Rock Yasin, his knee did not partake and he is out. So we're going to be missing one of our starting cornerbacks. Our offensive lineman, the center is a little dinged up. Our starting linebacker is a little dinged up. Let's see, who is the other one? Yeah, another starting linebacker is out. So that means... And our starting defensive tackle is out. So a little bit of the injury bug, even though we're starting to become more healthy, we'll in the final press conference with Josh McDaniels, he stated that he wouldn't let anybody know until later on this afternoon, which was Wednesday. So we won't know until tomorrow if Waller or Renfro are going to play. But if they do, they should definitely help this offense excel against this Rams defense. Now, as we take a look at the Rams, all are listed as unspecified. So McVay's pulling a Gruden right here. Aaron Donald he did not partake though with a bad ankle, so it's, we'll see what happens on a short week. He's most likely not gonna play. Troy Hill, game time decision. Growing, limited practice. Trayvon Howard, hip, did not partake, probably not gonna play. Linebacker Terrell Lewis, back, did not partake, probably not gonna play. David Long, DB, did not partake, again, probably not gonna play. Lance McCutcheon did not partake, limited practice. We may see him. Ben Skowronek, shoulder, limited practice. Most likely we'll see him. John Walford. This might be why they went ahead and got Baker Mayfield. It may be a tall tale sign that we will see Baker Mayfield. This is their backup QB. His neck was injured and he did not partake, and he had a limited practice on Tuesday. And then their center is on rest. Their center, tight end, and offensive tackle, Brian Allen, Tyler Higbee, and Ty Niskihi did not partake. We'll see what happens with them. You know how these injury reports go, man. They just kind of beat around the bush, and they don't give anything out until, game time, pretty much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, some of the big concerns, though, are that Rock Ya-Sin is out, and
Billings
is out. Jayon Brown is out, and Horsted, a backup tight end. We're limited on tight ends. He's out. So hopefully Moreau can stay healthy this game, or Waller comes back and we have a rotation. So, all right. Well, yeah, this show's running long. We'll go ahead and end the injury report right there. Let's get on to the outro. Oakland. All right, Raider Nation, that about does it for this week's show. Oakland Raider Savage, lots and lots that we talked about in this segment. What are your final thoughts?
Well, like we said earlier, this has the makings of a trap game, short week. We have injuries. They have a new quarterback that just got off the plane like 3 hours ago. They might play, so we got to make sure that we can't play down to the competition. This is the Rams, the defending champions, but this is not the same Rams that, started the season out. It's not the same Rams as last year, decimated by injuries, decimated by, just bad play. We have to make sure that we start early. We can't have no letdowns, no early, turnovers like we did in the Charger game. We have to take over this stadium. This is our second home. Raider Nation will be strong down there. The LA Raider fans from back in the day, they're still down there. We got to play to our other home field. And on the short week, we can take this team and go on that 4-game winning streak. We might have something to play for if we continue to play within our way, just play the way we know how to play, get this team early and take care of this team, and we can see win number 4 in a row and take care of business.
Well, what's your prediction?
I say on a short week, it'll probably be a 21-17, game. I say like it might be a low-scoring game, but I say we come up on top, 21-17.
As we said, this is a team that we have to beat because we do not want to continue to play down to the team's lower levels and lose to these teams that are struggling and having new players come in and new coaches come in. If we want to be a Super Bowl team and a perennial playoff team, we need to beat teams like this. And this is a good chance for Coach McDaniels to get a little revenge against the Rams. It's a good chance for Patrick Graham to get a little bit of revenge against the Rams. It's a good chance for the Raiders organization to get a little bit of revenge against Raheem Morris. So these are some things that I want to see. As a Raider fan, we've been through the mud. We've been drugged through the mud. So I want to see us get up, dust ourselves off. I want to see our team lead us into the Super Bowl and give us something to cheer about. And it starts right here, right? You've seen this team stick together, face adversity, overcome adversity throughout the season, in the games. Now it's time to start building that championship pedigree. And again, it comes with beating teams like this. You cannot let teams come in and just throw on in a quarterback and beat you. So this is a big testament to where this team really is. It's one thing to get emotional and go on the charge and win 3 games, but it's another thing to settle down and take a team that's dismantled or injured as the Rams are and pummel them. You know what I mean? And show your dominance and show the rest of the league that, you know what, those losses that we lost when we had 17-point leads were flukes. This is how we should have been. This is who we are now from the future, from now on. And that's what I want to see from the Raiders. As far as my prediction, you know, again, we talked about how the Rams offense has given up, or the Rams offense has scored 16 points a game, and the defense has given up 23 points a game. I want to see Baker Mayfield shut down and held to 16 points a game, but I'm not sure that that's going to work out like that. We're going to L.A. Yes, it's our second home, but we've lost there already this year, and the Rams are a wounded animal. So I'm going to say it's going to be a shootout, a little bit of a shootout with our defense coming up with some key stops. I'm going to go ahead and call the game at 31-23, something like that. I feel like, that the Rams will be able to move the ball. They will score a couple touchdowns. They'll score a few field goals. And but our defense will hold. They will bend but not break, and our offense will continue to dominate. So, with all that being said, Raider Nation, thank you for tuning in. Follow us on social media, like and subscribe to this channel if you would, and share our videos out, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah.